Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
Most of us lower our standards. Why? Because who you spend time with, my friends, is who you become. Quality of your life is the quality of where you live emotionally. Like, we all have a home. Angry people find a way to get angry, even if their life doesn't have to be angry about. We can always find it. Sad people find a way to be sad. Caring people find a way to care for other people. So one thing you got to identify is, where are you living? What's your home? What's your habit? And then the way to change it is that when I was homeless, literally on my own, just getting started, I didn't have the internet, but I decided I had to go to a library and I had to feed my mind. And I always tell people the first stage is, weeds grow automatically. One of my teachers taught me, he said, every day stand guard at the door of your mind and feed it something good. Because if your worst enemy puts sugar in your coffee here, you're fine. If your best friend by accident trying to help you puts some strychnine, you're dead. So if you feed your mind every day, 30 minutes a day of reading something, hearing something. Second, you got to strengthen your body. And the reason, Pierce, is fear is physical, right? So is stagnation, so is numbness, so is sadness, so is rage. And when you go in and change your body by an intense workout or a run or even an intense walk and the blood's flowing through you, science has shown it instantly changes your biochemistry. And now your mind and body are working together. Third thing, all these people did in common, if you watch, they found a mission bigger than themselves. Yeah. Something that they want to aspire to that was worth more than their pain. And then the fourth thing is, you got to find a role model. You heard it with Nick. Almost everybody finds a role model that makes it real. Yeah. When you get a role model, it becomes real to you if you get a plan, you get a goal plan, and you take massive action. And the last step, number 5, there's always somebody worse off than you are. I don't care what you've done. So if you can go help somebody worse off, it puts your life in perspective. And it also reminds you, life's not about me, it's about we. I always tell people, the secret to a great life, the secret to living, is giving. And when you realize there's something in you still to give, even if you lost your legs, even if you've been through a horrific financial situation, your life can improve. But more importantly, you'll have a meaningful life because your life will contribute to other people.
Decide to develop the habit right now, the habit of focusing on what's right in your world instead of what's wrong. The habit of focusing on what you do have instead of what you don't have in a situation. And as basic as that is, and as well as you know it, you've got to make it a habit. Because those habits form the chain of your ultimate character, of who you become and how you end up living your life. We've got to condition ourselves, because if we don't, we'll go back to the automatic state that most people live in today's society. The way to develop the habit is to go on a mental diet. It's that you immediately do not allow yourself to hold a negative feeling, a negative thought for 7 straight days, day and night, even when it gets tough, even when somebody disappoints you, even when you get frustrated, even when you give your all and it still turns up lousy. Listen, if all I did was rant and rave on this tape and you didn't listen to anything else I said, but you took on this 7-day challenge, you can't believe what it'll do to your life.
If you get yourself in a state of certainty that this is going to work, I'm going to find the way, and if this doesn't work, I will make the way, then you tap a lot more potential. And when you're certain in your potential, you take massive action. When you take massive action, you really believe in something, you get great results. When you get great results, your brain goes, see, I told you I was a stud. People tell me all the time, oh, I'm skeptical or I'm pessimistic. I said, no, you're gutless. It takes no guts, it takes no courage to be a pessimist, to say it's not going to work, to try to find out what's wrong. What's wrong is always available. It's also what's right. So I'm not into positive thinking, but I am into intelligence. And intelligence says, see it as it is, don't make it worse than it is. The only way it gets better is if you can see it as it is. Don't make it worse than it is. Don't try to make it so it's impossible to change. That's not true. It's not true at all. The second mandate, I think, to changing anything in your life, to leading your life, is once you see it as it is, not worse than it is, then you got to see it better than it is. Because that's the thing that's missing from most relationships. There's no vision. I mean, without a vision, people what? Perish. And when a relationship has no vision for greater than where they are, that relationship is going downhill, if not destroyed. I believe that every relationship, every part of life, every part of a human being needs a compelling future. If the future's not more compelling than today could be tough, but if the future's compelling, we can get there. So just to remind you, first thing you got to do is feed and strengthen that mind. Read, listen, feed the mind, take control of that focus, stand guard at what other people are saying, focus on what it is you're here to give, what you can control, what you can make happen. Number 2, feed and strengthen that body. Remember, fear, uncertainty, they're physical experiences. So the best way to deal with something physical is to get physical. Change that body. Go lift some weights. Go for that run. Do something that's going to get you in that state. But get that hour of power going, that 15 minutes to thrive, if you're familiar with that, to train your body and mind to be strong again. Number 3, make sure you put yourself in that position where you find a role model that's going to inspire you and show you that way. Maybe it's a contrasting role model. You think your life's so tough? Find somebody with tougher who's really turned it around. Or maybe it's just somebody who's really succeeded. That you can now see there is a way. There's a way through. There's a way to make this happen, even in the toughest times. There's always a way. 4, make sure you get yourself into action. Get a plan, take massive action. And then number 5, most importantly of all of them, feed your spirit. Feed and strengthen your spirit. And there's only one way to do that. It's to find what you're grateful for and to take time, whether it be prayer for you or just taking a moment to think about what it is that's so lucky in your life. There's a rejuvenation in our spirit when we stop taking things for granted. And when most importantly, what feeds your spirit is to give, to find a way to do something for someone else who's worse off than you are. Because what is this all about? It's about strength, and it's about perspective, it's about action, it's about emotion, and it's about heart. And so many people, miss the opportunity to feel like their life makes a difference. I'm a big believer that motive does matter. That why you do something, people can feel. That people may be skeptical, they may have their judgments or their fears because they've been through so much, but in my experience, ultimately, why you're doing something, people feel. And if you're doing this because some part of you knows that you're here in life not just to get, but to give, then there's a spark that happens in other people because they feel the genuineness of that, and there's a spark that happens in you because it reminds you what you're made for.
You know why kids love athletes? Kids love athletes because they follow their dreams. How much did they first pay you to give up on your dreams? And when were you going to stop and come back and do what makes you happy? I see guys who work at the same company for their entire lives. They clock in, they clock out, and they never have a moment of happiness. You have an opportunity. This is a rebirth. I'm a wake-up call.
Maybe you here because you need to hear this here. Maybe you here because you need to dust off your dreams. Maybe you need to explore your imagination. Maybe you just need to identify your gift so you can quit tripping in your own life, trying to figure out what you can do when God already planted inside you a long time ago.
Remember your dream. All of us have things that we're believing for, something that we want to accomplish. Deep down, we know it's a part of our destiny. We can feel it so strongly. But then we hit some setbacks. We didn't get the promotion. The medical report wasn't good. Or a relationship didn't work out. Life has a way of pushing our dreams down. They can become buried under discouragement, buried under past mistakes. There are dreams buried under divorce, buried under low self-esteem. It's easy to settle for mediocrity even though we have all this potential buried on the inside. Your dream may be buried. The good news is it's still alive. It's not too late to see it come to pass. We've all been through disappointments and setbacks. Life happens. But instead of remembering the hurt, the pain, what didn't work out, the key to reaching your destiny is you have to remember your dream.
Imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghosts of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the gifts given to you by life, but you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never used those gifts. You never used those talents and those abilities. You never wrote that book. We never heard from your leadership. And there they are standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, "We came to you. And only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever." And the question becomes, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what abilities, what gifts, what talents would die with you? Maybe that's why one woman said, "Oh, God, to reach the point of death," only to realize that you've never lived. Maybe that's why Henry David Thoreau said, "Oh, God, to reach the point of death, to realize that you've never used all your potential, all of the things that had been instilled in you.
Look, man, identify that God-given gift and get to pursue it. I had a partner. When we was growing up, all he did was cut grass. I'm talking about he cut grass every day. $2 for the front, $2 in the back. But boy, this boy was talented. He had one of them push lawnmowers with the single blade on it. He was so good, he could take the blade, lower it, and raise it. He could cut patterns in your yard with a push lawnmower. He could put your initials in your grass. You know how big that was in the hood? You get a W in your damn yard. This boy was $2 for the front, $2 for the back. He didn't go play with us nowhere. We going to the swimming pool. Now, man, I got to cut Miss Jackson grass. Hey, man, we going to go to the little school dance. Now, I got to get up in the Maryland. I got to cut Miss Stanley yard. We used to laugh at it. A grass cutter, grass cutter. This boy today in Cleveland, Ohio, he got a landscaping company. You know how much this dude grosses every year? $4 million. $4 million. You know what he do? He cut grass. He got 38 trucks on the road. He got every contract in the city, every office building, every mall. He cut grass. He cut the grass so good when it snowed in Cleveland, he put plows on the front of all 38 of them trucks. He got all the snow removal contract. This boy make $4 million. You know what he do? He cut grass. He cut grass.
You may not understand why a business didn't make it, why a person walked away, why you came down with an illness. You were doing the right thing, but the wrong thing happened. It's all a part of the process. What did you used to be excited about? Now you think it's been too long, it's too big, it's not possible. You don't think you could write the book, finish school, see a marriage restored, start the business, get your passion back. You have not missed your opportunity. You have not had too many bad breaks. You're not lacking. You didn't get shortchanged. People can't stop you. Bad breaks, disappointments, loss. There are seeds of greatness in you right now. Dreams so big that you can't accomplish them on your own.
As you think about your goals and dreams, not only is it possible, not only must you decide that it's necessary, that it's a non-negotiable, you have the ability to do more than you could ever begin to imagine. But when we live in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential, when we look at our environment and the people and the conversations that we're exposed to early on, we begin to form a limited vision of what's possible for us. And so as you think about your goals and dreams, here's what I can share with you because of what I've gone through, and you know this to be true. Changing your life is hard.
Why pay the price? Why work this hard? Why go this far? Why try to learn this much? Why try to do it all? Why try to see it all? Why try to have it all? Why do it? Why learn it? Why study? Why put yourself out? Why try to take on this much responsibility? Why develop yourself to the full? Why try to become all that you can possibly become? Why try to earn as much as you can earn, share as much as you can share, develop every skill you possibly can, see every human you possibly can, go to every class you possibly can, touch everybody you possibly can? Why do that much? Why go that far? Why share that much? Why give that much away? Why try to see everything? Why try to do everything? Why try to become everything? That's a good question, why? And you're the only one personally that can answer that question for yourself. You've got to have your own list of whys. Here's what I want you to do when you go home after you've left this extravaganza. Work on your list of whys. One of the big thrusts for success is to come up with a strong enough why. In leadership training, here's what we learn. If the why is powerful, the how is easy. But if the why isn't strong, if your goals aren't powerful, if the vision isn't clear, the old prophet said, without a vision we die, without a vision we perish, without a dream we're nothing. From the movie The Professionals, I listened to Bill Heron give his testimony yesterday. From the movie The Professionals, it said, we joined because we believed. We stayed because we were committed. We left because we were disillusioned. But we came back because we were lost. Without a dream, we are nothing.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
Faith without works is dead. You hear it all the time. You go to church and you learn all these scriptures, but then you don't apply none of them to your life. You're looking at a man who has made the simple application of 3 or 4 scriptures and maxed them out to get here. I maxed out 3, 4 scriptures to get here. I kid you not. I'll share them with you if you want to hear about them, but I maxed out 3, 4 scriptures to get here. I'd love to tell you I'm the funniest person ever lived, but I ain't. Richard Pryor got that. I'd love to tell you I'm the greatest entertainer, but I ain't. Michael Jackson was that. I got all that, but they gone. So I probably am. But listen, man, but I got to tell you something. If you could get a couple of things from me, if you could gather this piece of information. Albert Einstein said once, he said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction. Now, I want you to get this now. Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction. Because if you think about it, everything you have, everything we have in this world, somebody imagined. It's your imagination is tremendous. Somebody was sitting on the phone one day talking with a cord to the wall and said, man, I wish I could just go outside with this phone. Everybody in here got a cell phone. Somebody imagined that. Somebody got tired of riding in a wagon cross country from slavery to freedom. Somebody said, I wish we had something that made these wheels move by themselves. We drive cars. People got tired of driving from New York to LA. Somebody said, I wish we could fly. We got airplanes. Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction. Your real life, the one God really got for you, is in your imagination. It is not in your current situation or your current paycheck. And if you've been living like that, you have then restricted yourself to a commonality that is really not yours. Because what really God got for you is really in your imagination. Now, since there's a lot of church folk in here, let me tie that to a scripture, because this is when you really start affecting black folk. See, y'all don't really believe nothing till you tie it to some type of church thing. So let's just go on and do that. And once again, before I start this, I am not a pastor or a preacher. So there is a scripture that Albert Einstein took this quote. It's like the book The Secret. The Secret is one of the top-selling motivational books ever. But if you read the book The Secret, it's all biblical. Everything comes from the Bible. You really don't need self-help books. You don't need The Magic of Thinking Big, The Power of Positive Thinking, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Think and Grow Rich, The Winner's Circle. I've read them all. All of that information is in Proverbs, all of it. But let me give you this scripture. You've all heard this, right? Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So when I told you a minute ago, you got to have a tremendous work ethic, but you got to have a lot of faith. I talk to so many people who get older, like some of us are, and they've lost their faith. Well, faith is really simple. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. All that means is in the beginning, you just...
Now, fear is going to be a player in your life, but you get to decide how much. You can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about the pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here. And the decisions we make in this moment which are based in either love or fear. So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. I'm saying I'm the proof that you can ask the universe for it. My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job, and our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. I watched the effect of my father's love and humor and how it altered the world around me, and I thought, that's something to do. That's something worth my time. It wasn't long before I started acting up. People would come over to the house and they'd be greeted by a 7-year-old throwing himself down a large flight of stairs. When I was about 28, after a decade as a professional comedian, I realized one night in LA that the purpose of my life had always been to free people from concern, just like my dad. And when I realized this, I dubbed my new devotion the Church of Freedom from Concern. And I dedicated myself to that ministry. What's yours? How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out. As someone who's done what you're about to go and do, I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Everything you gain in life will rot and fall apart, and all that will be left of you is what was in your heart and got me to the top of a mountain. Look where I am. Look what I get to do. Everywhere I go. I'm going to get emotional because when I tap into this, it really is extraordinary to me. I did something that made people present their best selves to me wherever I go. I am at the top of the mountain, and I was, and the only one I hadn't freed was myself, and that's when my search for identity deepened. I wondered who I'd be without my fame. Who would I be if I said things that people didn't want to hear? Or if I defied their expectations of me? What if I showed up to the party without my Mardi Gras mask and refused to flash my breasts for a handful of beads? But you guys are so ahead of the game. You already know who you are. And that peace that we're after lies somewhere beyond personality, beyond the perception of others, beyond invention and disguise, even beyond effort itself. You can join the game, fight the wars, play with form all you want, but to find real peace, you have to let the armor go. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory.
I enjoy connecting with people and ideas, and I have a mission statement. So every year for probably the past 10 years, I've worked out a mission statement for myself. And for the last few years, the mission statement has stayed the same, and it's been improve lives, right? So when I go into something, I'm looking for how the quality of this piece could potentially improve lives. But it's all along the way. It's when you make the movie and how you're interacting with people in the process. And, the concept of improving lives runs through the center of everything I do. And then I realized that the way to improve lives is to continually improve yourself, right? So with that, every morning when I get out of the bed, I haven't fixed everything in the world yet, so there's always something to do. And in this film, I read an interesting quote for the Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. He said that good people have to get out of the bed every day and try to empty the ocean with a ladle, right? And I thought that was, I knew that was profound, and I paused for a second and I said, all right, what the hell is a ladle? As the mentality of how you wake up every day to try to do good in the world. So for me, I'm really driven by continually trying to elevate my mind and elevate my spirit and care for my body, and to be able to love as many people as effectively as possible with this mystery of life that I've been given.
World class is a series of seasons. I want you to remember this. Exceptionalism is cyclical. And so you might put out your masterwork and then you might reach a season where you just don't have the same game. You're not as excited about learning. The whole idea of growing seems exhausting to you. Honor the plateau. Honor the season. If you look at any of the great artists, they had periods of incredible productivity and periods of incredible recovery where they were reading or hanging out with their friends or resting or spending a lot of time in the wilderness versus in the world. And so I think if you really want to be legendary and play the long game, enjoy the plateau. Enjoy the seasons not only of productivity, but the seasons of rest, the seasons where you're enjoying life, the seasons of non-doing are equally important for you ultimately creating a body of work that will stand the test of time and for you to overall have growth in your career versus complacency.
Average. I'm very fortunate that I grew up at a time when there was no phones and there was no social media. And I suggest, yes, I'm on social media on a very limited basis because I have a story to tell and it's a great platform. Use it as a platform. Don't use it as your life. My biggest advice to give everybody in the world is, like I say, we live in an external world. Everything is you got to see it, touch it. It's external. If you can, for the rest of your life, live inside of yourself. Stop listening to people who are calling you fat, gay, transsexual, nigger. Everything that is makes no sense. All these insecure people putting their insecurities on you, you gotta flush it out. You gotta just be whoever the hell God or whatever the hell you believe in. If you believe in nothing but yourself, I don't care what it is. You gotta take everything and throw it away. You have to believe in one thing, and that is yourself. And I'm not saying don't believe in God or what you believe in, but right now, for you to find greatness in yourself,
can you live with somebody who has disappointed you? Watch out for people who fight stuff all the time. When you are always talking about something, don't be surprised when you find them warming themselves by the fire of the very thing. It's eating at us. It is not what we are eating that's making us gain weight. It's what's eating at us. It's eating at our rest. It's eating at our joy. It's eating at our marriages. Because the suicide rates are going up while we are quiet and silent and politically correct and dancing all over the world. Our kids are blowing their brains out, and I will not keep silent. I'm tired of short caskets. I'm tired of 15-year-olds being killed in drive-by shootings. Somebody has got to have the courage to talk about life that is not just a straight line. And not just saying I'm not his disciple. He said, I don't even know him. It's a shame, but it's true. A lot of people say a lot of stuff until it gets real, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, to richer and for poor, till you pee on yourself when it gets worse. Shame. I was reading a non-canonical book called The Gospel of Judas, and in it purports the ideology that Judas really wasn't trying to betray Jesus. He was trying to put Jesus in a situation where he would have to overthrow Rome. And he thought that if he got Jesus in an open confrontation with Rome, that Jesus would show his power. And the trick blew up in his face. And he didn't know they were going to kill him. If he knew they were going to kill him, then why did he hang himself? And some of us have made decisions that cost other people their lives and their futures. And it's hard to live when you got the masterful plot and the plot goes wrong. We can't tell when our friends turn jealous, when our wives fall out of love, when our husbands stop caring. I'm talking about a guy who couldn't get rid of his shame, so he got rid of his life. I'm talking to somebody out there who has a hard time living with a dark secret. Judas didn't have to hang himself, and you don't have to blow your brains out. Jesus died for your kind of shame, for what you did to yourself, to your family, for what you did to your future. You do not have to go and hang yourself. God still wants you. He still cares about you. Isn't it funny when your name gets bigger than you? When you got a great name and a great person and a great professional and a great the other, and you got a great name, but you got a messy past. Somebody right now is in a situation of fluctuation, and you are not living up to your highest ideals. You smell like swine, but he still wants you. A lot of us don't know what's in us, what we're capable of, because we buy into the myth and we believe our own headlines. You're a rock about this, but you are scared to death about that.
Hang on. I have Miss Columbia on my talk show. Miss Columbia gave me the highest rating I've ever had in the history of my 4-year-old talk show. T-Mobile called and paid me millions of dollars to do a Super Bowl commercial. A cha-ching. They paid me so much money, I go out there next year and say the wrong name again. You gotta wait and see what God got for you. I told my wife, I said, I always wanted a Super Bowl commercial. Said had one, they never gave me one. He gave me all of that, increased my global persona. We now have villas in 12 countries. Free villas that we can go to, 8-bedroom villas. I can come for a month, me and my family absolutely free. See what God do? You gotta work through the adversity. When adversity hits y'all and it's coming, remember there's a lesson and a blessing. You got me? All right, next thing I need for y'all to know, this is the third lesson. Quit asking God to make your life easy, because he ain't gonna do that. See, people, y'all go to church, man. Y'all got all these scriptures y'all memorized, don't apply none of them to your life. God ain't finna make your life easy. Lord Jesus, Lord, I don't want this on me. Sorry. Lord, take away all my worries. That's you worried. Lord, I don't wanna do this. Lord, I'm so tired. What y'all doing? Quit asking God for that. You gotta have some faith. See, listen to me. Faith don't make it easy. Faith makes it possible. You gotta have faith, man. If you gonna graduate and whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you gotta put some faith on it. You can get through with all this here. You're gonna get your degree, and man, I can't tell you how big this is. But it's gonna be a piece of sheepskin that's gonna hang on your wall. You got to go do something. You gotta get some faith in your life. Lord Jesus, I want my life to be easy. It ain't finna be easy. You're gonna lose some loved ones along the way. You're gonna not get the job you want. Somebody on your job one day gonna come in there and hand you a slip of paper and tell you they don't even want you here no more. One of your companies is gonna up and relocate, and you ain't gonna have the money or the resources to go with the company. You're gonna go outside the club one day, your car gonna be gone. You're gonna drive up one day, your house gonna be on fire. Now your house fully ablaze. What is you asking God to take the fire off your house for? Your house is already on fire. Lord Jesus, had him drive my car back up here. Thieves don't return cars. Faith don't make it easy, man.
That's everybody's dilemma, I think, these days. A woman married to a baseball player has to say he's going to be gone most of the time. Would that be the ideal marriage? And the answer is certainly not. But should a man follow his talent and his unusual skills? He probably says yes. She says, well, at times I wish he was a banker and not a home run hitter. You know, it's a dilemma for all of us. How to balance it all, make sure we don't sacrifice some values for others. It's difficult for two people to grow at the same rate. One becomes ambitious and one's a little more, let's say, at home. How do you balance that out and make it work? It's never ending in terms of its challenge. A wife who has a career and children and husband and social responsibilities and friends and church and whatever, it's a big challenge. My current heroes are single mothers and school teachers. how teachers have the patience to work with kids and try to get the message across and do a good job. They have my highest admiration. And then a single mother with children. Wow, that's probably one of the toughest jobs in the world. How to balance career, work, job, raise the kid, make sure spiritually, personally, socially they're okay. It just seems almost impossible. But human beings have the unique ability to do the impossible. They make it work. How many stories have we heard in our own country? A mother who scrubbed floors for years and put her kids through college, and now they're all professionals and lawyers and a credit to society. Les Brown's got a great story. A mama who really cared, but did the menial stuff till finally he got going and could help. Some people's lives we look and we say, how do they do that? And we think we're a little pressed, and how do you balance career and fortune and all that? Hey, try scrubbing floors to put your kids through college. Right. And then you say, hey, my problems are pretty simple and easy. But we all have the push and pull. A woman wants a hero and a successful husband. She says, go conquer the world and be home by 5 o'clock. He says, wow, let's see. How do I do that, right? Would she be happy with half the world, right? If I conquered just half the world and got home by 6. Let's do a little compromising here. But anyway, it is a challenge. When I was growing up, Papa worked and Mama stayed home. I was raised in sort of that atmosphere. Papa figuring out enough to take care of himself and his family. But, those days have all changed. Now the dignity of career, right? I believe, women have equal rights to follow their own star, but then to do what you're ambitious to do and qualified to do and learn the skills to do, and still make a relationship work and family and church and society. And it is a challenge. But I think we're up to it. At least we've got plenty of help here on information and books. People that have been through it and said, hey, here's a couple of danger signals. It's okay as long as, but when this, and you say, okay, I appreciate that advice. And sure enough, you're going along and then you say, wow, I remember I was told these couple of danger signals here. Looks like I'm pretty close to that. I better back away.